everyone. Welcome to week 3. How's everybody doing? I hope you're holding in there. Those narcissists are evil bastards. Before we get started, I wanted to share. I got an email from a lovely listener. I did not get her buy-in to share her name, so I'm not going to tell you her name, but she knows who she is. She'll know who I'm talking about. She shared her mantras with me, and I thought they were fantastic, so I'm going to share them with you. She's got 2. Which is smart. She's one if she's in a good mood, and one if she's not in a good mood. And I'll let you decipher which one you think is the good mood and which one you think is from the bad mood. Number 1, he's stinky and you smell nice. Number 2, fuck that. You deserve more. I love them. Thank you for sharing them. I love hearing your mantras. Go ahead and send them in if you have them or any feedback you guys have. This is for everybody, not just for me, not just for my lovely friend over there, where I'm not going to tell where because I don't want to give her away. She's surrounded by these assholes. We got a lot on our plate today. First of all, I just want to start with this, and I don't really have a good segue for it, but this is one of those moments that I had as somebody who has a mom who's a narcissist and who's had boyfriends who are narcissists, and it's always been really hard to kind of unravel that person in my mind. Sometimes they do good things, sometimes they do bad things, and you're like, who are these people? Are they good, but they snap a little bit? Feel like I love them. And there were a couple instances, both of which my husband sort of innocently brought up to me. The first question that he asked that sort of started me down this path of thinking, well, this is interesting, was it was a person I was working with in stand-up, friend, quote unquote, air quotes, funny quotes, friend. And my husband, I was having a lot of trouble with this person. And I was having a difficult time because at some points in our friendship, he'd been really kind and done really nice things for me very early on. And later on, it would just become this just carousel of craziness that he would just get you on for days at a time. And I had a hard time saying, well, this isn't my friend because of all the nice stuff he did. And I had a hard time saying he's going to stay my friend because of all the shitty stuff he did. And my husband said, hold on, is this person a good person who does bad things? Or are they a bad person who does good things? And that was the first thing that I sort of started to think about. I sort of stupidly, I don't know why, but I just always assumed that good people, people like you and me, empaths, decent people. I'm not saying you went out and saved the whales or whatever, but you're a decent person. Maybe you put your shopping cart away at the grocery store. Maybe you don't. But, you treat your family nice or whatever. You're just a person who goes to work and eats dinner and goes to bed. That's all. That's really required to be a good person. I just assumed that you're either a good person or like you're crazy, Like we had a conversation. I'm going to take Ted Bundy as an example. He's a prolific American serial killer. Killed 30 people that he admitted to. There could be more. He was in a relationship for 9 years, had a girlfriend for 9 years, held jobs, right? And in my head, I think, well, this person's crazy. He's crazy. He's got to be crazy to do things like this. And my husband said, what if he's just evil? What if he's evil? And I immediately, when I hear evil, I think angel or devil, right? Like, oh, so you're saying he's possessed by the devil? Come on, And his point was like, no. What if they know? What if Ted Bundy, for example, knew what he did was wrong, but he just really wanted to kill people, so he did it anyway? And that was strangely enough, I don't think it had ever occurred to me before then that somebody could kill people just because they wanted to. He's like, I'm like, they clearly have to be crazy. And on a grander scale, if you look at that, which I have ad nauseum since that conversation, your narcissist, my mom, my ex-boyfriend, comedy partners, friends, who are narcissists, are on that exact same scale. They're on that same continuum as Ted Bundy, serial killer, because he knew what he was doing, but he just wanted to do it. And that narcissist who, you know, it could be anything. It could be the person at work who does these little jabby things. It could be my mom who would say things intentionally to hurt me. It could be a husband or a wife or a partner who hits you and tries to get away with it. You know, like maybe they just wanted to hit you. Maybe they just want to hurt you. That's something to really consider, because I think a lot of people like you and me, for sure, you know, think, well, you know, they can't help themselves. If they're crazy, I'm kind of a bad person for deserting them, right? Like, if they can't help it and it's who they are, how do I not try to help? What if it's who they are and they're saying what they want to say to get you to stay and keep taking the abuse, and you're just staying around for it? Sorry, I feel like a jerk for even saying that, because it hurt. It hurt me, you know, it hurt me with my mom, where it's like, well, you know, I'm sure she didn't mean to say that, until I realized she did mean to say it. She did mean to say some pretty bad things. I guess I should tell some stories. You know, it's funny. It's going to be long. I have shit I want to talk about. But anyway, there's a reason that this podcast is called My Mom is a Bitch. And it's because she is. In this same scale as Ted Bundy. No, she's not murdering anybody. But she sure did like to hurt me. She sure did. In fact, like one of the breaking points for me, and granted, I tried to continue my relationship with her for a long time after this happened, because I hadn't processed it. I hadn't been through therapy about it or whatever. My father got very sick, and she didn't tell me about it. He was sick in a bad way. Turns out he had Legionnaire's disease. He was a contractor, probably got it from some ductwork or something like that. She didn't tell me. One of my aunts called and left a message on our answering machine. As is the tradition, as you could tell, here's me talking. Our family has a very long history of leaving like a 5-minute message about nothing. And then at the very end being like, oh, by the way, your dad's not really feeling well. Maybe we should give him a call. So my husband comes home, listens to part of the voicemail message, stops it a couple seconds in and says, oh, Aunt Cynthia called, you just need to call her back. We never heard the little end piece that says, oh, by the way, your dad's not feeling well, maybe you should give him a call. She told my mom, oh, I told Jill that, you know, her dad was sick, and my mom thought that meant that she told me in person. Now, granted, my mom didn't call me and tell me my dad was sick. She didn't want me to be involved in that. You know, that's her, you know, her stuff. She gets to stay and make him feel better or whatever. So, fast forward to a couple weeks when he's now in the ICU, because it turns out that he had Legionnaire's disease and no one knew. Just before they put him under, they put him under with fentanyl, and he was under until he passed away. So just before he goes under a drug that, you know, puts him in an induced coma, my mother says to him, oh, by the way, Jill knew you were sick and didn't bother to call, which is evil on a lot of levels. First of all, it astounds me that she would believe that I'm the kind of person who, if I had that information, wouldn't bother to call him. But it's also super shitty, because here's your husband who's sick and in the hospital and really suffering, and you tell him something that would hurt him. You know, only thinking about you, because now you're the good person. Look at me here by your side, and your daughter didn't bother to call you. Now, I found out that she told my dad this because I had come home immediately when I heard he was sick, was driving her to the hospital and taking care of all the things in the house. And I had a plan. We're driving to the hospital. We're going to spend the day as we can and come home. At night, we had sat down with our glass of wine, and she told me what she told him. So here's my dad in an induced, that's a hard thing to say, in an induced coma. And the last thing that I know my dad heard about me from my mom was that I just didn't bother to call him. I didn't care enough. And I got real upset. It was supposed to be okay because she slipped an "I'm sorry" note under the door, and they were supposed to never talk about it again. But when you really look at that, I mean, that's the breaking point. There's so much shit before that. But when you really sit down and break that apart, she wanted to look like the hero. She wanted me to look like the jerk. She wanted to hurt my relationship with my dad, and she wanted to hurt me. It was fucking bull in a narcissist china shop type behavior, and it's evil. It's evil. It's hateful, evil stuff on every level. Could she control it? Sure she could. She could have not said something. That's the crazy part, is when her sisters or people that she worked with or the people at the bank or the grocery store see her, they think she's just this lovely, funny, kooky, charming person. And it's, to me, I let them think what they want. Fine for her that she's got people who are okay in her life. I don't give a shit. But it just proves to me that these people, her, whoever it is, the narcissist in your life, know how to behave without getting in trouble, right? Like, she doesn't go to the person at the bank and say something shitty to their face. She knows how to act nicely. And she didn't do that to me because she wanted to hurt me. It was her goal. And I like to make people aware of this just because, like I said, it was a big moment for me to really, really like take that in. It's easy for my mom to say that she loves me. Her behavior, her actions, many of the words she used in my life were not loving words. Saying I love you or crying or having a fit because you're moving away from home doesn't mean that you love me. Your behavior means that you love me, and you don't. And that's okay. Just don't expect me to stick around. That's all, All right. That was a long-winded version of what I wanted to say, but I think you get it. You're a narcissist, the person husband, wife, partner, friend, boyfriend, girlfriend, mother, dad, cousin, fucking shitty ass brother, sister. They are on the same continuum of psychopathy. Look at me using psychopathy, by the way. They're a psychopath, maybe a less stabby / shooty version of a psychopath. They're not Jeffrey Dahmer. They're in it for the long run. They're not hurting you by killing you. They're hurting you by taking your Legos apart one at a time. Sorry. I'm sorry. Okay. I know I probably should have done this the first day, honestly. I probably should have done this the first day, but I wanted to discuss this because, I'm talking about narcissists. My mother isn't just, first of all right, my mom, I have to say this, never been diagnosed technically by a therapist. I was made aware of her issues because it was suggested that I go to therapy by a lovely teacher, acting teacher of mine. She's like, I think maybe you should talk to somebody. And I did. I'm telling the therapist my stories. Here's how you know that your mom is a fucking crazy person. Because I was like, she'd end up crying on the floor of the bathroom and screaming, but moms do that, right? Like, that's kind of what they do. So they lose their mind sometimes. And the therapist was just like, I was like, no. And she's like, no. So she said, why don't you Google borderline personality disorder and narcissism and see if any of these traits seem like your mom. And so that's how we came up with that. Narcissists don't normally get diagnosed because that would require them going, oh, wait, there is something wrong with me. And narcissists don't think there's anything wrong with them. But I did want to go through these because this is why, because I know our minds are slippery. My mind was, if before I talked to my therapist, I would go through a list of narcissistic traits. I'd be like, yeah, but she doesn't do this one thing, Or I would look at another person, yeah, but she doesn't really beat me. So that's okay, right? Anyway, cluster B personality disorders. These things overlap, and your person might have some traits of one thing and some traits of another. It could have traits of all of them. They could traits of just one. These things overlap a lot. So, cluster B personality disorders. You've got antisocial personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, histrionic personality disorder, and narcissistic personality disorder. And I'm just going to go through quickly some of these things. Antisocial doesn't mean that people can't, that they can't talk to other people. Okay. It describes how often they break social and legal rules to get what they want. They are against society. That's what makes them antisocial. So if somebody has antisocial personality disorder, they tend to ignore other people's feelings, and they are not a fan of authority. They are like, you can't tell me. I know better. They focus on themselves and their own goals without giving a flying fuck about anyone else. All right. Let's go through some of the symptoms of antisocial personality disorder. Aggressiveness, impulsiveness, zero remorse, frequent problems with the law, disregard for their own safety or your safety, persistent lying, and consistent irresponsible behavior. All right. Borderline personality disorder. These people have a weak sense of self-worth. They might rely on other people in their lives to help them feel stable. Do you have somebody who's constantly asking you to prop them up? Maybe. They have inconsistent moods that flip from very positive to very negative without knowing why. What happened? Who pushed your button? We don't know. Okay. These are the symptoms of borderline personality disorder. Deep fear of loneliness, frequent displays of anger, feelings of emptiness, unstable relationships, impulsivity, black and white thinking, which is, I feel like I'll go back to that. Hold on, put a pin in that. There's two more. Risk-seeking behavior such as gambling or unsafe sex, and suicidal threats. Black and white thinking is all or nothing. So my cousin who lived with her for a very long time abandoned his kids, wasn't giving any money to his ex-wife, drank himself to death in her house, and she still thinks he hung the moon because he gave her $50 a week, and she did not want to believe that he was bad. And when you look at that in relation to themselves, in the case of somebody with borderline, those are people who can't take feedback or criticism because she can't accept something she did was bad or wrong or without reason or that she had to, because that would make her bad all the way. It's one or the other. It's analog, you guys. No, it's not analog. It's digital. It's digital. Okay. All right. Histrionic personality disorder. People with this shit want attention all the fucking time, and they actively seek it out. With this, they'll usually be aware of how they look all the time. They behave in exaggerated ways that might seem over the top. Actually, I think my mom might have a little bit of this. If you have HPD, you overreact to small events. Somebody gives her the wrong look and, Jesus. You might appear to be fine one moment and then burst into tears when you're told you can't do something. You have trouble maintaining relationships because of how you act. These are the characteristics of these jamokes. Strong opinions without actual knowledge. A lot of those people intercut you right now. Dramatic behavior. Constant need for attention. Shallow emotions that change quickly. And suggestibility. I don't know what they mean by that. Suggestibility. I suggest I Google it and try to find out. All right. And then narcissistic personality disorder. And I'm getting these from WebMD. So this isn't just like Bob's home therapy kit. This is like actual people who know what the fuck they're talking about. Okay. Narcissistic personality disorder, NPD. People with this disorder generally believe they are better than everyone else. They don't simply have high self-esteem, but they actually and actively believe that they're more important than other people and that they should be treated that way. Many people with this disorder react badly to criticism, or events that they dislike. Manipulation. Okay, if you have NPD, you're more likely to try to take advantage of people by manipulating them. You may have an overly emotional response if you don't receive the attention you feel you deserve. And you may also overreact to situations to keep people focused on you. Other symptoms of this personality disorder are arrogance, envy, expectation for praise, expectation of favors, fantasies of power or success, and no acknowledgement of other people's successes. God for fucking bet that they have success, because that's taken away from them, isn't it? So now here's these 4 things, and the thing that makes me worry about telling you guys this shit is because there's somebody out there right now going, well, let me figure this out. Okay, so they do these things from this one and they do these things from this one, but they're not all of these things. So if I go to a therapist and I go, okay, my husband or wife or partner or fucking neighbor or brother or whatever, these are the things they do. Can we get them diagnosed so that I can fix them? Because that's what I did, I was like, great, if we could just get her a diagnosis, I could get her a pill, or we could strap her into an electric chair and shock the shit out of her and make her love me. That would be fantastic. But you can't. You can't. That's the problem. I don't know enough about anything. I don't know enough about anything, you guys, to tell you for sure what makes these people on the deepest cellular level who they are. I only know that you can't fix them and you can only help yourself. The only thing you can do is get the flying fuck away from them. I'm serious. It's, my heart breaks for these little kids in the world that are being raised by these fucking lunatics and they have to grow up and undo this garbage by themselves. But here they are. There's no fixing these people because they won't turn themselves in. They don't feel like there's anything wrong with them. So again, our only option is to not stay. The only option is to go, and I'm sorry. I'm apologizing a lot for this episode, but it's true. Let's do this week's overly dramatic reading from my journal is from 2013, and I was not well. I was really angry. I think I was in therapy at this point. Okay, I'm making excuses. Anyway, all you really need to know is we had nightmare neighbors. Their kids were always breaking the law. Their very adult children were always breaking the law, and cops were always over there. And I think that's enough of a setup. Okay, here we go. That bitch put a fucking shelf in our recycling bin. They don't have garbage service. They don't pay for garbage service. she put a shelf in our recycling bin and thinks we're so stupid that we won't even know. I saw her. She snuck over to our house at 7 a.m. and dumped shit that's not even supposed to go in there into our bin? Like a goddamn reverse raccoon or something. Fuck that. I'm taking it out of the trash and putting it on her porch. Ay. That's this week's reading from my journal. Oh gosh. I think that's occasion for our 5th I'm sorry, you guys. All right. The self-help tip for the week is meditation. Throw out whatever you think about meditation. If you're just judgy about it, like if you think it's just done by people who live in communes and walk around nude, or it's just a Buddhist thing. I look at meditation as though it's a practice. That's why they call it the practice of meditation. It's a way to have some control over your thoughts. There's guided meditations, which you can find all over the place. There's apps and albums. You can find them all over the place, which are great. They basically will just focus on your breathing, in, out, counting breaths. It's kind of like that placeholder for shit thoughts. There's also just meditating and by yourself, just you and your thoughts. And this is where this practice comes in, and this is very useful. It's been very useful for me. You have a thought come in, you go, okay, I see that thought, and then you let it go out. Okay, I actually picture it coming in through my right ear. I had that thing happen yesterday where the guy honked at me on the road and it made me really upset. Okay, I see you out through the left ear. It's a way to let shit go, and it's a good practice to have. So instead of being kind of feeling like you're stuck on just you get on a thought, you can't let it go, meditation is a good way to train yourself to just go, yep, I'm just going to let that go. You don't have to do it for an hour. Do it for 5 minutes. Do it for 3. Do it while you're walking. Just walking, and every time something comes up, okay, I'm just going to leave that behind me as I walk. It's worth doing. So I'm just going to leave it there. Yeah, I think that's enough. Everybody knows about meditation. Give it a shot, though. Give it a shot. All right. In summary, whatever the diagnosis is of the person that's making your life shitty, whatever cluster B personality traits they have, fucking get rid of them. They're jerks. You deserve better. You're a good person. I believe in you. And I believe that they're assholes, even if they look like they're fucking awesome to everybody else. If they treat you like shit in private, get the fuck out. That's really aggressive. I'm sorry. Number 6, I guess. 6 I'm sorries. And meditation. Drop your preconceived notions of it. Give it a shot. Find a nice, short, guided meditation. There's apps all over the place. They're worth looking into. Or just sit down. Set a timer for 5 minutes. Practice letting thoughts go. Practice letting them go. And, secret bonus tip. If you're ruminating and your brain is going whirly, 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 don't move your eyes. Keep your eyes steady. Stare at something. Your eyes have to move around to grab memories from different areas. If you keep your eyes focused on one place or steady, boom, your brain goes calm. It's a pretty good tip. I learned it on TikTok. I feel like I should be giving somebody credit. All right, you guys, send me an email. Let me know how shit's going. evilmompod@gmail.com. I believe in you. I believe you deserve good stuff, and you can do this. All right, that's it. See you next week, Wednesday at noon, every week. Subscribe. I'm having trouble letting you. Okay, that's it. No, you hang up. Okay, I'm really hanging up now. Bye.